Chris Jericho. A lot of people have been, poking and prodding at me, saying what I think of all this, right? So, if you haven't heard, Chris Jericho, apparently, obviously he hasn't been on TV and AEW since April. He liked a post about him possibly going back to WWE. There has been talk about it. Dave Meltzer has reported on it, saying it's a really big story. His contract is up at the end of the year. And there's lots of talk about WWE. I think there's like some maneuvering going on through the media right now with Jericho to try to get whatever number he's looking for right now, which is why I think some of these stories are emerging right now.
Yeah.
I don't think he necessarily wants to leave AEW, but he will. And the examples that I have of Chris Jericho willing to leave a promotion is his entire fucking career.
Yep.
So, people were like, hey, man, is it time to count out Chris Jericho? Look, Chris Jericho has always made the right move for his career.
Bitch, are you ready for should I be serious now or should I get to my nasty joke?
Oh, go ahead.
Now you say he's gonna reach for agency, he's gonna do what's best for him, right? And I believe that. Does that mean that he is going to go back to WWE? I'm not so sure. Because John Cena is having his last matches at the end of this year in WWE. I'm not quite convinced that Vince McMahon is not going to start up a Fed.
Interesting.
It remains to be seen if he starts up another Fed. Because if he starts another Fed,
I mean, he could just go back to the Fed.
Well, he can't necessarily go back to the Fed.
They're doing the soft launch for all this shit now with Brock.
Yeah, yes. Possibly. But, a lot of that stuff is, I have my tinfoil hat on, you have your tinfoil hat on. So, we both just is saying nasty shit. But, yeah, as far as Jericho for real, I think that he would be looking in his best interest to go back to WWE. I think that we're at a point now where unless there is another type of dramatic change in his outlook that we're on, we can't account for right now. I think he's at the point when I was like, I can't keep up with the top acts in this promotion anymore. I am absolutely a first ballot Hall of Fame cornerstone person in the history of this promotion, but now it's time to go to WWE, get my retirement run, and possibly come back to AEW for a retirement run too. Like it's time to wind it down for him. Now, do you think he knows it, or do you think he still got some in the tank?
I think this guy is among the handful of the most driven professional wrestlers that has ever lived, and the old line is never count out Chris Jericho. And I wasn't playing, kidding, joking, none of that. I've seen the shape he's in right now. This man is in phenomenal condition right now.
Oh, Jericho is?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
He lost a bunch of weight. I can sing
again. Okay.
Again. And he looks totally different. Let's just say that.
Okay.
But I don't know if that, obviously it's a lot harder to do at his age and everything like that. But this guy is one of the most driven wrestlers there is. If he feels like he can't get the number, I always saw him as like being a right-hand man to Tony Khan at a certain point. But maybe, if we think about the history of the company, Jericho was the person that didn't fall for the EVP thing. He was like, nah, just fucking give me the big bag and I'll take the unofficial title with all this shit. And he was the smart one of all that.
Yeah, but there's also another part, right? More nastiness, right? If Jericho leaves, do we get like another like small little detail in the information of him leaving, saying that like, oh yeah, his office job is now missing, and then you find out, oh yeah, he had health insurance all along.
Well, but I'm saying,
like, remember that CM Punk thing? We're like, oh yeah, his other contract.
I'm sure he does.
That's what I'm saying. That's
like
what I'm saying.
like they already announced. They've already
just
announced.
Being nosy.
No, they've already announced that stuff when he re-signed. Like they basically said he had like a office position or whatever, like kind of
I didn't know
like mentor or whatever. Moxley has the same shit.
I just looked at up his Instagram. Yeah, you can tell just at his face he's lost weight.
Yeah.
You can just look at his face and tell he's lost weight.
Right. So like, you know, like when I think about like what Jericho's meant to AEW, obviously a huge fucking deal, like of being like not even necessarily like the first big star to do it, because like, you know, there are a lot of big stars. He was the biggest, and you know, he was a legend or whatever that made that move in the beginning when there was nothing guaranteed at that time. So like, I think there's going to be a certain amount of respect shown for Jericho when he's either heads out or if he stays or whatever, right? I think Jericho, however, has like been the perfect target for anyone. You know, like with Jericho, like the way that he has, you know, the rest of his career has played out, what has made it easy to take shots at him. Obviously, you know, you could bang on him for his political stuff. You could bang on him for leaving WWE, you know, and obviously that creates a huge target on your back. You're pushed as a first champion, you know, it'd be like, oh, who is this fucking old guy or whatever? Then you just got to keep proving it. Whether you want to believe or not believe, you know, allegations that were never raised against him, that stuff like did damage to whatever, regardless of like whatever like was not alleged. So, the you know, the reinvention and, you know, the staleness in him sliding down the card. People have talked about the Jericho vortex and all this stuff I didn't necessarily agree with. But I thought that this guy gave so much creative brain power to pretty much everything, got pretty much everything over up until maybe the learning tree, I could say.
Last year.
Yeah, I'd probably say the learning tree wasn't that over, but he still did his thing and ended up with a couple good matches with Bandito. Like, we saw him, like, working with, like, pretty much everyone in the promotion, maybe except, like, Swerve. Like, I don't think he's had a major match with. Everyone else he's pretty much worked with. Like, I think from that perspective, like, yeah, he's exhausted. Like, he could use a change of scenery. You could obviously see him jump. I struggle to see how Chris Jericho is happy working under Paul Levesque, because that's like, that beef is for life. I don't look. That shit is weird. Them niggas hate each other for 30 years. So
yeah,
that would be.
And there's not.
And The Rock into this, because Rock is cool with Jericho. Jericho's always loved Rock. There's like another, like he's basically like, you see what Triple H is doing like now, like how we're seeing like all the old players or whatever gathering up. Like Shawn Michaels runs NXT, Undertaker is doing AAA and all this shit, right? Who's gonna run TNA when they get it? Essentially, it's like if you're Jericho, it's like, all right, maybe I could get one of those spots or whatever. Like, that's basically like one of these inner circle type things. But I would have always thought that would have been in AEW. But maybe he convinces himself, I'm working for The Rock, or I'm working under The Rock. And, you know, it's a whole, you know, I think people will tell themselves whatever to make themselves feel comfortable. But, you know, I just think Jericho's done it all in AEW. He can write his own ticket. He can stay. He can go. You know, it's not like I'm going to stop supporting Chris Jericho. Like, I don't, like that's my dude since 1996. Wherever he goes, like, it's like, am I going to be necessarily tuned in to watch like what he's doing on like a Raw or a SmackDown? No, because I don't do those type of things. But big WrestleMania match. But I could imagine Jericho. Like, I think it's so valuable to have him for Tony Khan, for the history of the promotion. Is basically, if you buy Jericho, quote unquote, and I term it like that for a reason. If you buy Jericho for whatever, like another 5, maybe even 10 years or whatever, you buy his platform, like you buy the Talk is Jericho platform, essentially, to making it a AEW friendly outlet. You got enough outlets already working against you, like with all this, you know, ESPN stuff. They're getting yanked off of websites, and you have him as a backstage mind. You have a lot of different stuff with Jericho, and you have access to the Jericho story in AEW. And also, if there are unsavory things, you protect those as well. I'm not saying if there are or aren't, but if, in the case there are, you don't have to worry about another person throwing dirt on the company, or, we see it's the AEW pay-per-view week. Cody Rhodes is coming out here again. So it's like, these are the things you want to kind of protect. So that would be my biggest thing with Tony. But if Tony feels like, yo, like if this was sports, Jericho would be a bad contract. Absolutely. If you gave him another one, like whatever, like that.
Yep.
But I think the thing would be like, would it be a bad contract, or are you paying for like the legacy and the story? It's like, all right, was the Kobe Bryant contract the last 2 years of $48.5 million? Yeah, in a cap sense, and if you're doing it in a basketball sense, no, but you bought more than that. You bought the loyalty, you bought the legacy, you bought everything for life, essentially, and you're gonna be able to basically spend that forever, essentially. So like, and you bought the image of never, seeing no other jersey on that person. Like these are the things, like, I think with Jericho, I wonder what Jericho would want at this point.
I don't know. Like, because the simple thing would be if it was just like, yo, I'm wrapping it up. But we don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. He don't strike me as like, yeah, I'm ready to wrap it up.
Yeah, because it's a lot of these fucking the Attitude Era Canadians. Like,
and like he never gets hurt. Ever.
Seemingly he's never had any serious injury that I'm aware of. But like, I think it's just a situation where like they're all this thing where it's like they have a certain value. Jericho more than Christian or Copeland, but at what point are you chasing, bad money after good? Or maybe I'm fucking that same, but like, at what point is this diminishing returns or this is sunk cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you can't just be out. I mean, is Tony can do whatever he wants to with his money, but like, I would think that, given that you're in the middle of this ongoing media war, like, you might not want to, give a bad contract out that is going to meet. The second you sign it, it's bad. Like, no, like, you need to get him to the point where you convince him that it's his own idea that he wants to, wrap this up pretty soon. And if not, then you can come back. You always have a job here when you're done wrestling.
Right.
But we can't give you no wrestling contract no more. Not unless it's like we got a year left. And this is like, we're gonna give you a retirement tour. We're gonna treat you like we're gonna give you the Sting run,
right.
That sort of thing.
And the thing is, Jericho, like, I don't know, like, Jericho's not really sentimental like that. Like, he's a businessman. He's never talked about wanting to ever be in a Hall of Fame. Like, he doesn't give a fuck about a lot of that shit. Could that have been posturing? Yeah. I don't know, but.
Yeah, but there's also this thing about, you mentioned he's not sentimental, but he also realized that he's in a business that's built on sentimentality and nostalgia. So he recognizes that, like, even though he may not care about that kind of shit, he knows that his fans do. And people that are watching, like, wherever he shows up, wants him to have some kind of wind down, right? I'm not saying he has to. I'm not saying that he's gonna like, if he goes to WWE, he's gonna get the fanfare of like a John Cena, even though they fucked that up over this last year, as you see. But who do you think after what happened to Goldberg, who do you think is more likely to end Cena? Who do you think is more likely to like get this? When it's time for you to step away, who do you think is more likely to actually do it? In a way befitting a pro wrestling legend.
Oh, I feel like it's AEW.
Right, because they fucked up John Cena.
Yeah.
WWE fucked up John Cena's retirement run.
That's crazy. But yeah, like I could easily see Jericho rolling up, returning in the Royal Rumble. However, that is in Saudi Arabia this year. That's gonna be so nasty.
John, look,
he done did it before. He done did it before.
He'll get on that plane. He don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Nah, man, you got the wrong one for that one.
Yeah, like he'll go get the check. But I could easily see the Jericho. I find it very, like, I'm like, there's no way he would be fulfilled. Like, it just doesn't seem like there's enough there. They'd be like, all right, man, like, if you bring in Chris Jericho, who's he working with, for one? Is he working with Seth Rollins?
Owens. We can go pick up right where we left off in 2018 or 17 or some shit. Yeah.
Neck surgery.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Like,
how long is he out for? You think he'll be out for a full year?
At least.
Okay.
So, maybe Roman Reigns, like, CM Punk. Even though I heard CM Punk has Jericho on the no-fly zone, apparently.
Be fucking hilarious if they work together in WWE.
Cody,
because then Jericho would do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Put me in the main event.
Put me in the main event. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But man, I think I would find Jericho going to WWE hilarious in light of, the switch up that would occur with him. We would never hear about his wife again. We would never hear about where his political donations go again. We would never hear none of this stuff. It would all be magically erased. And, everyone would get to enjoy the greatness of Chris Jericho. I'm like, all right, man, y'all funny. But, all the built like a baby mama stuff, all that stuff, all magically erased. We won't have to hear none of it or whatever. But, if I'm Jericho, Barry Bloom's gonna get the job done. Like, he's gonna get, you'll never hear about.
Is his agent too?
Oh, Barry Bloom has been Jericho's agent since like the 90s.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought it was only like the Young Bucks elite situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, whatever happens, I'm sure he's going to make an informed decision. He's going to read whatever the way the wind is blowing and hook himself to the right situation for Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
It's always been that way. When it was time to go to New Japan Pro Wrestling, he was like, "Oh, I see what's going on over here. Yeah. There's a bunch of great wrestlers that I can just get in there with and like get a couple more years off." And what did he flip that into? Oh, hi, nice to meet you, Tony Khan. Oh, and then if TKO actually wants to spend money because they're so intent on hurting AEW and taking their first ever world champion away, oh man. They would probably love nothing more.
That'd be fucking hilarious. Like, yeah, we got this guy, and like he ain't been on TV since April. Like, you okay? Sure, whatever. What a death blow! It's almost like the promotion is like completely moved on from the needing for Jericho. Like, we're about to. Well, if we didn't have what we're having at Forbidden Door, we'd be like, bro, we're like a month away from like, is Kenny Omega ever coming back?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, like AEW has moved on beyond like these initial launch stars being at the top of the card in that way. And that was a part of the, the growth of this company to be able to move on from the New Japan WWE stars and move and get to, Hangman, Adam Page, Swerve, Will Ospreay. So he served his purpose. He's done everything you could possibly ask for him. And you put him in the ring of honor and all that kind of stuff. I didn't mean Ring of Honor like pro wrestling Ring of Honor ROH. I mean like Ring of Honor like in a football team has like their special Hall of Fame type thing. Yeah, he definitely belongs in that. And
one of the most valuable wrestlers to ever walk in the company. Someone that's advocated for a lot of wrestlers that got major pushes or whatever. Jericho was like, that guy's okay. Like Tony Khan will run by people. Like, hey, what do you think of this guy? And he could push the button the wrong way on somebody. And, from my knowledge, he didn't. One of the only wrestlers to show up. There were a few wrestlers when Swerve won the championship. Chris Jericho showed up to the after party or whatever. I got to meet Jericho and kick it with him that night. That was kind of a crazy happening. But like, I saw all the wrestlers like throughout that night, congratulating them at the arena. But it's like, yo, do you take the extra step to like show up for somebody? Like, the real nigga, man. Like, I know, like, it's tough to give Jericho his props like that. But look, man, like, I've heard too many things about Jericho. So, look, I know people may not want to hear it from me or whatever because I've made it my thing, for years and years and years. But hey, he made me look good a lot. Made me look smart and correct.
Can someone clip Rich calling Jericho a real nigga? Because that is wow.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, all right, where do you